Tonight, new dawn in Rivers State as the State Assembly resumes plenary after expiration of emergency rule. Budget Minister calls for stronger executive-legislative synergy to tackle governance challenges. Plus, Lagos Assembly pushes for financial autonomy for the third tier of government in the state. Good evening and welcome to Parliamentary News. I am NTA Ojonuba. As plenary resumes this Thursday in Rivers State after the expiration of emergency rule, Nkiru Onyejishi is standing by to tell us more on what is expected from the legislators. Nkiru, over to you.
The Rivers State House of Assembly has resumed plenary session after 6 months of state of emergency. Speaker Martin Amehule presided over the brief sitting. However, on the order paper for the day, there was only one item, which is a motion to set legislative agenda for the remainder of the year for the 10th Assembly. Majority of the lawmakers were in attendance in Port Harcourt. Nkiru Onyejishi, NTA News.
The federal government is restating its determination in strengthening structures, promoting institutional collaboration, and prioritizing policy making as critical to reversing state fragility. Minister of Budget and Economic Planning, Atiku Bagudu, stated this during a policy dialogue on deepening legislature, executive synergy for effective economic governance organized by the National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports.
In recent years, Nigeria has witnessed persistent shocks to key macroeconomic indicators, including inflation, put at 28.9% as at March 2024, currency volatility, and unsustainable debt servicing among other economic issues. The Tinubu-led administration, however, introduced a series of reforms geared towards restoring macroeconomic stability, boosting investors' confidence, and fostering inclusive growth.
We should strive for a $1 trillion economy by the year 2030, 6 years from now, which is almost a fourfold increase in our GDP. Are we being too ambitious? No. We believe the Nigerian economy has the capacity to be mobilized to generate a $1 trillion economy.
You are talking of SMEs. It is when you pay these local contractors, these small business people, that money can be in the system. There is no money in the system. I belong to the opposition, I'm in the National Assembly, but we have supported this administration. Why? So that there will not be excuses.
Participants at this dialogue believe that the goal is to support effective coordination and accountability frameworks that can drive sustainable reforms between legislature and executives towards achieving economic priorities.
Despite the commendable reforms and progress recorded, Nigeria, like any developing country, is still grappling with some socio-economic challenges that require critical deliberations.
We must shift from extraction to production, diversifying our revenue base beyond oil dependency, creating an indigenous capitalist class capable of leading development.
The consensus is that Nigeria's economic future hinges on bolder reforms and mobilization of citizens to own the national development agenda. In Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
Meanwhile, Lagos State House of Assembly has adopted a motion seeking financial autonomy for the legislative arm of local governments and local council development areas in the state. This was at a plenary presided over by the Speaker Modashiru Obasa in Lagos. Musa Toiliat completes the report.
The three arms of government, the executive, legislature, and judiciary, are constitutionally replicated in the three tiers of government: the federal, state, and local governments.
Such dependence undermines the principle of separation of power.
The need for the legislative arm at the local governments to have financial autonomy was contained in the motion moved by the chairman, Local Government Administration, Chieftaincy Affairs and Rural Development, Honorable Ganiu Sani.
The legislative arm in all local government areas and local council development areas depends on the executive arm for funds to carry out their statutory functions. Further observes that such dependence undermines the principle of separation of powers, weakens effective oversight, and sometimes exposes councillors to undue executive influence.
Some lawmakers say financial independence for the legislative arm of government at the grassroots is capable of preventing frequent face-off between chairmen and councillors.
Most of the local government chairmen, they have almost all the leaders of their councils in their pocket. Now, if we are asking for the financial autonomy, it gives them a little bit of credence to be able to say this is what is right or wrong in the financial institution in the local government.
The powers that belong to the local government legislative arm should be given to them in terms of financial autonomy, for them to be able to carry out their functions without the permission of the executive arm.
There should be a kind of relationship between the executive and the legislature. So the relationship between the two must be cordial. And as much as they are to be cordial relationship, then the autonomy must be given to every one of them to perform their legislative and the executive duty.
We are giving back to local government what belongs to them. The councillors should know their rights, should be accountable to the people.
There is no check and balance in all our local government. Why? Because every of the legislative arm of the local council do not know their function.
Members of the House of Assembly also believe that the principles of separation of powers will be enhanced when the motion eventually leads to a legal framework to actualize independent funding for the local government legislature.
Separation of power will bring openness, accountability, public confidence, and it will enhance training. And more so, it will even further enhance the representation to the people that they are representing. And it will make even the legislative arm to even be more accountable to the people.
We should not just talk about them having their own independence and not going there. That enough training, guidance will also be pushed into motion, especially on capacity building, so that they know from day one what is expected of them, especially when they do their monitoring and evaluations.
The Speaker of the House of Assembly, Right Honorable Mudashiru Obasa, noted that with the recent increase in allocations to local governments, the legislature at the grassroots must be empowered to ensure proper checks and balances in the interest of the people.
If they can oversight the chairman and his team very well, I think there will be degree of sanity and improvement in our local government, particularly at this time that the federal government has increased allocations to our local government. So we must see the impact of such increments, and this is the only way to go about it. And it's also a reminder for us to look at the local government administration law so that we can amend and make this process, a law beyond the resolution.
The House resolved to call on Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu to mandate the Commissioner, Ministry of Local Government, Chieftaincy Affairs and Rural Development to prioritize regular training and capacity building for councillors on financial management, budgeting processes, and legislative best practices. In Lagos, Musa Toliat, NTA News.
The increase in cases of missing children and child trafficking have raised serious concerns among parents and guardians. To address this growing social menace, the Benue State House of Assembly has resolved to call on the State Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development, along with other relevant stakeholders, to develop effective strategies to curb the trend and provide support for victims and their families. Assembly correspondent Grace Anyalewa Ichekpa reports.
The urgent call on stakeholders to address the rising cases of missing children and child trafficking follows a motion of urgent public importance moved on the floor of the House by member representing Makurdi South constituency, Mr. Douglas Akia.
Child trafficking is a grave violation of human rights, and Nigeria is a signatory to the several international and regional conventions against child trafficking, including the United Nations Convention on the Rights of the Child and the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child.
In another development, the House resolved that the Benue State government should reintroduce student bursary through the State Scholarship Board to ease the hardship of Benue students in higher institutions of learning across the country. This follows a motion raised on the floor of the House by member representing Ogbadibo State Constituency, Mr. Samuel Agada.
Concerned that this laudable initiative is operational in other states across the country while our Benue State students locked in the dark corner to watch while other state students enjoy the evidence of democracy.
We believe that if the government reactivates this scheme, it will add some support to the parents' grief and what our students go through.
Result 2, that His Excellency the Executive Governor of Benue State, Reverend Father Hyacinth Adia, look into the Benue State students' plight to, in his usual manner, show them love, especially those touring with professional courses like nursing law, and others. As a result, also taking.
Also during plenary, a motion of urgent public importance calling on the state government to rehabilitate the road from the State Ministry of Works up to the Makudi Old Bridge was moved by member representing Mbagwa State Constituency and former majority leader, Mr. Sate Tise.
Concerned that in due course, when major construction works commence, the Wulukun roundabout would experience hold up, making commuters to spend many hours before traversing the Makudi metropolis.
If the major work of the flyover started, the hold up there is going to be too much. So I'm calling on the Ministry of Works with the matter of urgency. Start that old Makudi road and rehabilitate it for the betterment of all of us.
The only resolve of this motion, calling on the state, on the Ministry of Works, Housing and Urban Development to, as a matter of urgent public importance, rehabilitate the portion of road between the office and the old bridge to serve as alternative route for most of us who come to this city from North Bank. She'll say aye. Aye. Those against the ayes.
In Makudi, Grace Anyalewa, Ichepa, NTA News.
We now take a break. The news continues shortly. Please stay with us.
The Senate President, His Excellency Distinguished Senator Godswill Akpabio, GCON, cordially invites the pleasure of the Senate leadership, distinguished senators, Honorable Speaker, House of Representatives, Dr. Tajuddin Abbas, GCON, leadership and honorable members of the House of Representatives, the APC National Chairman, Professor Natangwe Goshwe Witilda, and his National Working Committee, all ministers, all state governors, family, friends and associates to the wedding party here of Honorable Nasruddin Abdulaziz Yari Abubakar, Jagabam Mafara, and Safia Shehu Idris. Special guest of honor, His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR. Guest of honor, His Excellency Vice President Kashim Shatima, GCON. The wedding party will take place at Sultan Bello Jumat Mosque, Ungwasarki, Kaduna, on Friday, 19th September 2025 by 1:30 p.m. Announcer, Dr. Lawal M. Liman Gabdan Kaura, Chairman, Senator A.A. Yari Political Organization, and Chairman, Governing Board, Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital Zaria, Kaduna State.
Thank you for staying with us. In another development, the Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center is exploring deeper collaboration with the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS Commission, to promote peace, security, climate justice, and regional integration. Muhammad Rabiu Ali reports that CISLAC and partners have presented the 2024 to 2029 strategy document as the first step towards takeoff of the partnership.
Inequality remains the reason for the crisis in West Africa that requires urgent attention. This engagement is to foster collaboration and inclusive development with the ECOWAS Commission to tackle inequality, stressing the importance of advancing human rights, social justice, thereby reducing poverty.
Both ECOWAS and Oxfam and its partners, we could be amplifying the voices of the marginalized communities and promoting policies that benefit the most vulnerable households or communities. And these are issues that we could actually go deeper into trying to identify what could be done.
The issues of democratic governance is one area that we as CISLAB and Oxfam, we want to see how we can support ECOWAS to ensure that we actually have more democratic election in our country.
The ECOWAS president further encouraged civil society organizations to intensify advocacy on climate justice, noting that it is critical to addressing climate-related conflicts.
We cannot address insecurity alone. That is why we are working together. We must work together. Just a few weeks ago, ECOWAS ministers of defense and ministers of finance met here in Abuja to determine the funding modality for our counter-terrorism activities. So this shows you how much attention we are giving to peace and security. Just because you are not affected doesn't mean you are not exposed. And this is why we really need to work together.
He assured CISLAC and Oxfam of ECOWAS readiness to partner on initiatives that will promote peace, development, and integration in the region. In Abuja, Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
As the 2025 fiscal year is gradually rounding up, Kano State House of Assembly is putting final touches to the Kano State Appropriation Amendment Bill 2025. This also includes other legislative engagements that need attention before the year runs out. Samira Hamishushira is on standby with details on these and other activities by the lawmakers.
Less than 4 months to the end of the 2025 fiscal year, all hands are on deck to ensure various developmental projects are executed in different parts of the state. This informed the swift response of the Kano Assembly in passing the State Supplementary Appropriation Bill 2025.
Now, the fifth bill provides the Kano State Supplementary Appropriation Amendment in 2025 for two ports of the air to a total of 210 billion, 378 million, 374,503 naira 62 kobo, would bring the total size of the 2025 ports of the air to stand at 935 billion, 133 million, 792,206 naira 62 kobo, and for the other matters collected out this year by pass.
In that allocation, there was an increase of what we earlier predicted has to be gotten. So we had an increase, so that increase of amount of money must be appropriated. That's why the appropriation amendment bill was necessary.
In another development, Representative Timi Lawal from Ajingi moved a motion for the establishment of College of Agriculture, which was unanimously adopted. From the Kano State House of Assembly, Samira Hamisishira, NTA News.
The Coalition of Organized Labor Unions have presented their inputs and observations on the proposed amendment of the State and Local Government Contributory Pension Bill 2025. At an ongoing public hearing, they submitted their perspective to the Kebbi State House of Assembly's committees on security and general administration for further deliberations. Assembly correspondent Jafar Yusuf Ilo reports.
The Kebbi State House of Assembly is currently reviewing the State and Local Government Contributory Pension Bill 2025 with a public hearing held to gather input from stakeholders including the Coalition of Organized Labor Union, Kebbi State Contributory Pension Board, among others. The bill seeks to ensure timely remittance of pension funds to beneficiaries and to address issues of improper documentation of people's money.
And also places where they said if a person, a contributory member, maybe happens to, he has contributed just for 4 to 5 years, and for maybe ill health issues that he has forfeited the remaining portion because he has not attained the age of 45. So also check that area, look into it.
We will never fail them. We'll make sure that this law, if passed into law, will be implemented to the letter.
The bill aims to improve pension management for state and local government employees. The Chairman Committee on Security and General Administration, Mohammed Abubakar Lolo, assures them of further deliberation on the bill, considering the stakeholders' feedback.
So the issue is that we have sit with the labours and give them the bill, give them 2 days, so that after 2 days today they bring the bill with their observations. So and we make sure we go with them with their observation, which married with what we have already been observed from the bill.
The Kebbi State House of Assembly have been actively working on various bills, including Kebbi State Information Technology Development Agency Establishment Bill 2025. The Assembly's committee engaged with relevant stakeholders to ensure thorough review and effective legislation. In Buri Kebbi, Jafari Subilo, NTA News.
And in Delta States, the new dress code for civil servants from grade levels 6 to 17 as released by the State Head of Service has been eliciting diverse reactions from both civil servants and other members of the public. Telma Iliogu tells us more.
The memo, as released by Delta State Head of Service and published by the Office of the New Media to Governor Sheriff Oborowori, states that officers on grade level 15 and above should appear daily in complete English suits, except for uniformed officers, from level 7 to 12 in suits or a pair of trousers, shirt and tie. Same for officers on grade level 1 to 6, except drivers and plant operators, who should always be in their uniforms or, in the absence of uniforms, put on trousers and shirts to work. Traditional attires for men is permissible only on Fridays and special occasions. These include smart senator suits, modern kaftan or native shirts with matching trousers, complemented by appropriate traditional cap. However, resource control hats and papa's hats are prohibited. Women are not also to wear artificial eyelashes, long nails, or dye their hair.
Very, very clearly, the civil service is a regimented service. What it means that there are rules that govern the operations in the civil service. If you are going to swim in a swimming pool in a hotel, you don't wear agbada. For every profession, every field of endeavor, there are certain codes or kind of dresses that you must put on. And we are saying in Delta State Civil Service that we expect our people to dress decently.
Though this dress code is yet to be passed into law, the release stipulates that it is with immediate effect.
Any office you get to, your appearance matters a lot. It's a welcome development, and I expect every civil servant to key into it.
This dress code is just to put us in check, because people, where you give them allowance, they take allowance. I like it to some extent, but where I frown at it is that this insisting that every level this to this should wear suit, many people don't have it, and the economy is not smiling.
It's a welcome development. If somebody tells you to dress well, the person has not wished you bad, but the needful must be done. And what is the needful? Before you tell somebody to dress well in this harsh economy, definitely you must make sure that the person is well taken care of financially. So let the government include this, what they call wardrobe allowance.
Most civil servants has forgotten that they are civil servants. And I believe this is a very good measures to bring their senses back. When you look at the circular, they categorize the dressing. I believe those that they say they should put on suit, they can afford it. It must not be a very expensive suit.
The Nigerian Labour Congress Delta State chapter says the state government needs to go back to the drawing board, fine-tuned the directive to accommodate the minimum wage of the workforce.
We were not consulted before. They just came out with a drastic policy that we further task our pockets. The workers in Delta State are under pressure. We were not able to pay for accommodation because of the high cost of rent. Some of us come from villages that are about 1 hour away, putting our heads on the road every day to transport to the office. We borrow money to pay school fees, borrow money to pay house rent, borrow money to come to work, borrow money to feed. And all of a sudden, somebody is misinterpreting the civil service rule. The civil service rule, section 04314 of the service says that no officer will dress in a manner that will be deemed inappropriate. It did not list the type of clothes we are to put on.
This is where we conclude Parliamentary News. Remember, you can still watch this news and other programs on our social media handles showing on your screen. Thank you for watching. On behalf of the production crew, I'm NTA Ojonuba. Bye for now.